Okay guys, so following on from our little overview of the new ST200 line, we're going to do some testing. The fun bit is we now get to hit it.
Absolutely.
So I want to hear your thoughts on the initial kind of overview and footprint, Matty, and what you heard when we were kind of chatting about it there, what Chris was telling us.
Yeah, I mean, cosmetically, I think it lines up with what you said, Chris. It's certainly not a departure, I would say, from last year's. It's just kind of looks like a little bit of an updated cosmetically look. I think it still looks great at address. To me, it looks a little bit more kind of symmetrical, a little more rounded at address, which I think is nice. I don't know, I like last year's driver too, because to me, you can sort of see the loft on the face. To me, it gives you a little bit more confidence that way. So yeah, I was impressed with how it looks for sure.
If you're looking at the head shape itself, the 190 was maybe a little triangular almost.
What I was.
And this one, you're exactly right. This is a little bit more rounded.
Yeah. Good spot, Matty boy. Yeah, I hadn't seen that, but now you talk about that kind of almost triangular or kind of the shaping of it, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So I think that was a great update. I mean, we've snuck a couple in before the video, so I'm definitely anxious to do the full deal. But based on it being sort of a little bit more geared towards forgiveness this year, that appeals to me. I think it's just like I liked last year's a lot. I'm not probably the best at my strike pattern; it tends to stray a bit. So I'd be expecting to see a little bit better performance on that, which I think it's not just me. There's tons of guys that probably need a little bit of variance on the face.
Agree, 100%. Okay, let's unleash the beast. What you've got? So you've got the 9.5 in there, 9 degree.
9.5 degree neutral for now.
Perfect.
Was it 9.5 last year?
It was 9.5 last year. Yeah, the G is a 9 degree, and then the standard's a 9.5. Nice ball there.
Came back really nicely.
Gimme.
Chris, what was the feedback, with a season's worth of sort of data and obviously just going out to meet accounts on the price point last year being quite substantially less than some of the other drivers in the marketplace? Was that something that retailers were really kind of pleased to see?
We had a lot of things going for the 190. Yeah. The look became a lot more neutral with the black, and the head shape was nice. But you're right. I mean, it's tough to overlook that the price point is a touch lower. That being said, we put a ton of stuff into the head. Well, the price points of these are the same as the others. Yeah. But I think that's one of the things where when you see the numbers and you put it up against some of the other competitors, 100%. You're going to get every bit of the performance, but we're not really raising the price on it. So
that's a good one. That's good.
That's a really balanced
That was definitely right in the middle of that one.
That's just got the perfect blend of. Actually, looks to me like it's got a little bit more launch to it.
Launch angle. Yeah, I was noticing my launch. So my launch angles, I think, lately have been more like I want to say 11.
Okay.
Yeah. 11. You normally live between kind of 11.5, 12.5 ish.
So that's nice to get that up. I mean, I think I'm hitting it. I'm not swinging my fastest today, but my distance is actually about as high as it ever gets.
That's great. Yeah, and this does have a little bit lower sweet spot than the previous version.
Okay.
So that is going to help launch it a little bit higher, and then the spin rates at higher launch, it's still not spinning too much, which is great. So
it's a good number.
Yeah, it should be pretty good.
Interesting.
I mean, that's very balanced and always angled descents coming in nicely at 38. I mean, to be honest, that's pretty ideal. The only thing that's stopping that being, really elite is just the speed is a little.
If you swung a little faster, yeah. That's a good one.
The actual crown profile itself with the 190. We got some feedback from the tour guides that it looked a little bit like it was going to turn over. So it looked a little bit upright, and it looked a little, not shut-faced, but not open-faced. So on the 200 stuff, if you look, the actual crown profile actually falls off a little bit more towards the toe to give the appearance of a little bit flatter.
I love all those little subtle things that you can do just to influence the eye.
Right, exactly. And you're right, it's a totally a mental thing because the lie angle itself is virtually the same, but you can change the way it looks, and that'll really affect how you deliver through the ball.
Yeah. I was going to say it does look a little bit flatter this year.
Matty, do me a favour, shape a couple the other way.
I was just going to say fade a couple, yeah. That felt pretty nice.
That last one, Chris, with the strike strain, you know, a couple of dimples low, 7 millimeters low, and it was only 2,500 in spin.
That's really good.
That's a lot of vertical control on the spin.
Yeah.
I'd like to see that one kind of spiking up and losing too much. That's a good flight.
Yeah,
that's
that
nice.
is.
That's a good one.
So this to me is looking like a really good model. Again, probably going to take the bulk of the golfers who are trying the product.
Absolutely, yeah. The standard ST200 really is for the masses,
Yeah.
between the 9.5 and the 10.5.
Seems that way.
The X and the G, they're definitely for the extremes. You know, if you really need to knock a ton of spin off, then the G is the way to go.
Yeah.
Or if you really need help getting that ball to turn over, the X would be the way to go. But you're right, even with our tour staff, it's funny how you'd think everyone would, you know, go towards the super low spin, but we've had the most success with the standard.
Really?
So the ST200 has been the one that most people are going towards.
Right.
Well, I mean, based off of what this is doing right now, the 200, the standard version, the non-adjustable version, I mean, if the G is 500-600 RPMs less, I mean, you could get into some really crazy scenarios with that.
You're exactly
for guys
right.
who launch
I was going to say, the guys that can't get their launch angle up because you're not allowed to play with loft because then you have too much spin. You could go up and loft on the G, let them launch it higher, but then obviously the spin's going to be low just from the head itself.
For sure. It almost allows that loft to be a lever you can play with.
Right.
The fact that you can move the spin so much. So it's a really good addition to it.
No, it's great, yeah.
Well, I mean, in terms of a real kind of bulk of shots, that's a pretty good representation right there.
Yeah. I would probably, if we were going to do a full fit with this, we would probably start to play with the face angle, maybe open it a little bit. But otherwise, no, most of the flights look nice and neutral. Felt good.
Okay. Anything on your end, hitting it, anything you see, feel?
I think there's probably a few strikes. Even that last one was a little on the toe. I think I got away with quite a few of them. Last year's, I think I liked it a lot when I was hitting it solid. If I was getting a little squirrely on strike, I felt I hit a ton of like really duckers to the right. So to me, it definitely seems like it's more stable than last time. Would be maybe something to watch.
So a quick look at that actually, and look where strikes of, just to back up what you're sort of saying there. So it's not like you weren't hitting any in the toe.
Yeah, they were definitely toe.
There's
I
a
can
few
even
toe
see
in there.
I can see my strike pattern on the face is towards this side.
11 millimeters out there, pretty good vertically.
And it stuck around. The launch conditions seem to be pretty consistent,
Really
regardless of a center strike or a toe strike, which is pretty good.
Yeah,
like that one being a little toey, that spin is still, like I struggle with that spin dropping to nowhere.
Right.
So that's better to see it at least kind of hover around 2,000. And I think that's why that didn't curve too far offline.
Good. Well, more to do on it, more to test, and
Definitely.
really excited to dive into the other two heads. We need to get our righty candidate looked up for that. The X, that'll do for me.
You want to use the X, yeah.
Cool. Okay, more to come. We're going to take a dive in now into the fairway woods.
Yeah,
We're going
great.
to look at the CLKs and see how they compare to last year.
Perfect.
All right, guys, stay tuned. See you again soon.